Yo, what's cracking, J Coders? I'm J Coding, and thanks for the excellent feedback on my new and improved intro. Shout out to Bearded Gladiator 00 for all the support. Add him on Discord if you'd like. Now, for today's video, I was thinking about trying something new. Could you guys tell me what the acronyms RAM and ROM stand for? Stay tuned for the end of the video to see the results. And to be honest, if you guys don't have the patience to watch my boring code, then just skip to the end of the video. Now, today's video is going to be about the ArrayList object. For all of those taking the AP Computer Science A exam in May, this lesson is extremely important. So before everything, we have to import the ArrayList. For those of you who didn't know, so you guys don't have to remember all these funky names for imports, you can just take away the word ArrayList, put a star. It imports everything Java has with the same exact effect as if you were to write java.util.ArrayList. So we have my setArray class, my main method over here, and this is where we create an ArrayList object. And names is the name of our ArrayList. And this is obviously where we create the new ArrayList. Now there are many methods that you can use for the ArrayList. One of the many methods that you can use is the add method. Now what the add method does is, every time you call the array names.add, anything you put in the parentheses will be added at the end of the array. So since Java reads everything line by line, as you guys know, it'll read this in order from top to bottom. So the first thing Java reads is names.add1. And even though we put 1 as an integer, it is in the form of a string because it is in double quotes. Now the number 1 over here is now in the index 0. For those of you who didn't know, arrays start at index 0. So if an array list has the size 7, the index will go from 0 to 6. And then I proceeded to add more and more numbers. Names.add2, names.add3, names.add4, and names.add5. So 1 is index 0, 2 is index 1, 3 is index 2, 4 is index 3, and 5 is index 4. Now what we did over here is we printed out our array. Now I'm going to comment out the rest of the code so you guys can see what exactly happens when I just print out this first part. And run. Now we see names array list contains brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're probably wondering, how was I able to get this bracket format as if it was in a toString, even though I didn't put anything like that in my code? And it all comes back from up here, java.util. Java.util will just import everything, and since the ArrayList is included, in the ArrayList package there is a default format for when you print an ArrayList object. So now every time you print an ArrayList, you should expect this format. Okay, now let's move on to our next method. The next method we are using is the set method. Now what the set method does is it takes two parameters. The first parameter is the index, and the second parameter is what you are going to put in that index. Now what the set method does is it replaces the number of that index. So if I do names.set 0, J0, it should go to the index 0, which is in this case 1, and it should replace it with J0. So before I show you the other names.set, let me comment those out. And now let's print our new array. So now the second one that we just printed, at index 0, which as you know is the first number in there, it replaced 1 up here with J0. Now if we uncomment the rest, it should completely replace the array. And let's print this. J0, J1, J2, J3, and J4. Now to the remove method. The remove method is pretty self-explanatory. All you have to do is put an index value inside the parameter, and whatever index value you put in, that value will be taken out of your array list. And when that is taken out of your array list, the index values change. So what index value 3 now becomes index value 2, index value 4 now becomes index value 3. Everything after index 2, so 3 and above, is going to get shifted back 1. So let's run this and I'll explain it a little better. Okay, now we printed out this array a third time. Names array contains J0, J1, J3, and J4. Notice how J2 is no longer in there. Because if you look at J2 previously, it was at index 0, 1, 2. That index was removed, and now J3 and J4 were moved back in index. So now J0 is index 0, J1 is index 1, J3 is now index 2, and J4 is now index 3. And now we go right back to the add method. What I didn't mention about the add method is it can take 2 parameters. Now what happens at that parameter is you just put an index value, so in this case I put index value 2, and I'm going to write new value. So unlike set, it doesn't replace, it just merges itself in index 2 and it moves everything else to the side. Over here I printed names and let's run it. J0, J1, new value 3 and 4. So previously we removed index 2 and now we added a value for index 2 called new value. Now this could save you a lot of time if you just use the dot set method, but this is just another way to break it down and really give you guys a good understanding of the ArrayList object. And now on to our final method, the names.size method. Now in the names.size method, it does exactly what you would think it does. It just prints out the size of the array. So in this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values in the array, so I would expect the value to be 5. Now before I run this code, you guys are probably wondering, why isn't it names.length? Well, for the ArrayList object, it has different methods. So instead of printing out names.length, you would have to do names.size. That's just how it's different from other arrays. Now if I print it, I should expect 5. And I got 5 over here. Alright, thanks for staying tuned throughout the entire video. As you guys could see, RAM stands for Random Access Memory, and ROM stands for Read-Only Memory. That's just a quick trivia question for any time you get into a nerdy debate with your very, very annoying friends. Shout out to my Uncle Robbie. I'll put the link to his YouTube channel in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.